Hello, this is Andreas from Nordic Tarot, and I'm here with a love reading for the second half of October. And I just want to mention, as always, that before we get into the readings, that these readings are general and they can't resonate with everyone. So I really hope there is a message for you, but if there is not, I'm sorry. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy your reading. Hey Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising. This time around, the underlying energy you have is the Knight of Wands. And the underlying energy is kind of the energy that's permeating throughout the entire reading, right? This kind of what's, along with the situation, kind of what the reading is about. So you might be feeling very passionate right now. You're like full of action. It almost feels like to me like, I want to do something. I want to get out there and just do something, do anything. And I don't know if it's kind of about focusing that kind of energy, but I suppose we'll find out. In the problem circumstance, or the heart of the reading, you have the Lovers, and the Lovers is a soulmate card, and for a love reading that's pretty great. It's also about a head or heart decision, like choosing between something you love and something that might logically be the best choice. But then of course that also asks us, why wouldn't you go with what you love? But the Lovers is also just about love in general. Loving what you do for work, loving yourself, loving your partner, loving your children if you have them. But since again this is a love reading, then I feel like there's love for yourself or love for someone else. Or just loving the relationship you're in if you're in one. But so this card, the Lovers, it's crossed by the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups can be talking about our inner child. But what it also says is that someone has expressed how they felt about something. So did you meet someone here with the Lovers? It's like a soulmate connection and you expressed how you felt about this. Of course, because it's in the crossing position, this can also be someone who is not expressing it. They aren't expressing how they feel about this other person perhaps. Maybe the Lovers being about love, maybe this is someone not expressing that kind of thing. And if that's the case, then I understand if that's like really heavy and difficult to deal with. Like, if you're that person, if you want to express this to someone, but you're not sure and you're like, oh, that makes me uncomfortable with something like that, then of course that's stressful. But like I said, it can also be someone who did express their feelings about this other person perhaps. And in your past you have the Chariot, and the Chariot is a victory card. The kind of victory it is though, it's a victory through our own actions. This is a victory that we make happen. We accomplish something and we're victorious and, feel good about that. But this is also a card about balancing your head and heart. Like, the Lovers is a choice between head or heart. The Chariot can't move unless your head and your heart are balanced. So did you have this thing in the past here with like this victory and you were very focused and things moved very quickly toward a victory and you put that kind of work in? And this victory or whatever happened here in the past with the Chariot has moved you along to the present energy, which is the Wheel. And the Wheel is fate, right? It's fated situations. Something is fated. And it's also about change and movement, that the Wheel of Fortune, it keeps turning, like the seasons keep changing. Things aren't fixed, they don't stay the same. But I kind of feel like, did someone come into your life? Like, is this what the Lovers is? Like, is this connected? That someone came into your life and then it was this expression with the Page of Cups? Because I kind of feel like it's connected with someone, like someone entering the picture. And something else with the Wheel is that the Wheel of Fortune comes, like I said, when something is fated. And the Wheel of Fortune also wants to teach us lessons. It puts us in situations that have new components, but may be very similar to situations we've been in the past. And that's for us to learn something. That, okay, so the past 6 times I've been in this situation, over the last, it can be anything from 2 weeks to 60 years. The last time, the last 6 times I've been in this situation, I've reacted and acted the same way. And the wheel kind of puts us in these similar situations for us to act differently, for us to make different choices, for us to learn and grow from what happens when we make these different choices. And it is like breaking these chains and breaking the mold, doing something different, and oftentimes it's about breaking a cycle, like because this stuff keeps happening over and over until we kind of learn something from it and make different choices and behave differently in these situations. And I feel like it kind of works out for you. Of course, we are free will beings, so it's kind of up to us. Pretty much everything is up to us. Everything is influenced by our choices and our impressions and how we act and interact with other people. But you have the potential future energy of the magician. And the magician is like a master manifester. He's amazing at channeling and manipulating energies. And the thing about the magician is that he has all the tools he needs to create what he wants. Like in this card, he has a wonder cup, a pentacle, and a sword. So he has all those, like all the suit energies, and he's a very powerful person, and it's a very powerful card. And it just kind of talks to me and kind of tells me that you can kind of forge your own path. Like, you have that power, you are powerful, and you have that in you. That kind of moves us on to the crowning energy, or what is your advice, which is the Fool. And I think, yeah, Taurus had the Fool in this exact same position as well. And it's about a new beginning, then perhaps in the form of a leap of faith, because we don't necessarily have all the information. It's doing that. It's beginning something new despite not having all the information. And there's always this excitement to me with the Fool as well. And it's kind of that thing of, it's like curiosity to it as well. Like, what's behind that bend in the road, or what's over that hill? I have no idea. I'm going to go and find out. It's like, I don't know, but it's going to be fun to, figure stuff out. I've never been there before. Like, and that's the kind of energy I get from the Fool. And I feel like this is a great potential for, like, a new relationship, or a new beginning in a relationship that you're already in, right? Because you're not necessarily single. Some people will have this reading resonate whether they are in a relationship or not. But like I said, I do feel this like excitement and curiosity with the Fool. And sometimes it is very difficult to do this kind of leap of faith stuff, because it can be terrifying, of course, but you also have to find this bravery within yourself to be able to kind of embody the Fool energy. But that kind of energy is here backing you up, and the cards are saying like, well, you got this. This is our advice. The universe is saying, I mean, it's a major arcana, so the universe is kind of saying like, check this out, I think you got this. Then in your feelings, you have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is, I mean, it's the card for the tarot, for example. And the High Priestess is about intuition. It's about having the answers. She's also the keeper of secrets. But I feel like you have answers here. You know what's going on. You know what to do. And you have all this intuition to tap into as well. And I know air signs don't necessarily have the easiest time to tap into their intuition, because you are so intellectual and you have such an easy time to detach from things. But this, with the High Priestess in your feelings, I feel like you are really feeling this at the moment. And sometimes it can be difficult kind of trusting, like with the intuition coming in. It's like, do I trust that? Do I really like go with that? I feel like that's the correct thing, but I'm kind of second guessing myself. Like, is that something that's going on with you? Because I understand if that's difficult. But again, the High Priestess says that you do have the answers. You do. And she's so incredibly intuitive, and she does not question herself. She goes, oh, well, I knew that, or I think this is what's happening. I have the answers to this. Don't worry. And in your outside influences, you have the Ten of Swords, which is looking at your cards, which it's probably the only card that's like, looks super, super heavy. I'm not saying your reading is easy, and these energies, I'm sure you feel like someone's batting you around a bit with all these. I mean, you have so many major arcana as well. Actually, goodness, you have a lot of major arcana, I just realized. But yeah, the Ten of Swords this can be us feeling betrayed. This can be, it's like being stabbed in the back, like what's going on in this picture. But it's also the end of the swords cycle. So that's over, and it's saying to us that the worst is over. The worst has happened, and now things can only move up from there, you know, because we have been at the bottom, and we can now move up. And, you know, this being in the outside influence as well makes me feel like this is something that has come from someone else. It's this, I don't know. I kind of feel like this is to do with something that has required a lot of work. Like, this is something you put a lot of effort into, maybe. And like, did it like blow up in your face somehow? And was this because of someone else? And one of the reasons I love this deck so much is, like, this is one of the cards that I really love. Because she has all these swords in her back, right? And looks quite beat. But it's like she's in the process of like getting up and shrugging these swords off, you know? And she's like, already she's on the other side of the worst has happened. It's like, okay, the worst has happened. It's time to get up and get going again. I don't know. I really like this card, and that's why I like it. Sorry, I just had to say that. But in your hopes and fears, you have the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands is excitement and passion. It can be a new project, starting something new, and starting something new that you're really excited about. So why is this in the hopes and fears position? Is this like, this is something you really want? Maybe this is something you can then manifest in the future with the Magician, for example. Because it is that passion and action and doing something. I mean, this can be about hoping for a passionate new beginning in a new or an already existing relationship. Which makes sense to me. Like, of course, why wouldn't you want that? Just some excitement. And it kind of makes sense with your underlying energy as well, that because you are feeling like passionate or excited, like you do have this kind of fiery drive to you. But then in your outcome, you have the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is like the warrior spirit card. This is someone who has the high ground, they're standing their ground, and they're defending their position. Like this woman in the card, she's on these stairs and guarding this door or this gate, and we see these 6 other wands kind of creeping up on her, and she's ready to fight because it can be about standing for something. It can be about standing for a principle, a way of thinking. It can be just having made your mind up about something. Like, no, I'm going to do this, and I don't care what anyone says. This is what I want to do. Now, another thing with the Seven of Wands is that sometimes, well, look at the card. We don't actually know if anyone's holding these other 6 wands. We don't know if anyone's attacking. And I'm not saying that you're being delusional and that you're being overly defensive, but it's more the thing of how maybe things are not as serious as they seem. And of course, if they are serious and you think they are serious, then they are serious. Goodness, I just repeated that a lot, didn't I? But I hope that makes sense. Like, if it's serious to you, then it is serious. But I think it's also worth looking at. And one of the reasons I'm saying this is because your first Oracle card, which is from the Oracle of E, is number 2 X-ray vision. And it says, ignore everything in your life that suggests there's a problem. It's time to look past the illusionary veil of petty struggles. As soon as you take your attention off of all that appears wrong, you will begin to notice all sort of right signs and clues. The universe is throwing buckets of clear guidance your way. See beyond the surface and the superficial. Soak in the deeper meaning. Soak in the refreshing water of truth. So, I think this card speaks to the Seven of Wands, the Wheel, and the High Priestess. And I've already explained the Seven of Wands, and I've already kind of explained the Wheel as well. Like, the Wheel puts us, like fate puts us, or the universe puts us in these situations, and for our greater good, trying to teach us some lessons, you know, help us to grow. And if you can see that lesson, if you can understand what the point of the lesson, then it's so much easier to break that cycle. And the High Priestess, that's about intuition. that's about having the answers. I very much feel like that's connected to the universe. Like, perhaps the intuition is the universe communicating to us. Like, when we get that gut feeling. So I think the X-ray vision card works excellently is excellent for these 3 cards specifically. And your next card from the Wisdom of the Oracle is number 10, Unfinished Symphony. And the essential meanings are unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, the need to make amends. So, I think this very much speaks to the wheel again. I mean, this is about finishing a lesson, learning that lesson, breaking that cycle, and it's just, these cards almost scream to me like this is what it's about. It's a lesson. There's something you need to learn from what's going on here. And I feel like the cards are very much like pushing me to just, come on, you gotta tell them this. They need to know. Like, that's kind of how it feels to me. So I think you do have some pretty clear messages here, and just like, you do have the intuition, and you have this help from the universe, like with all this major arcana as well. It feels like the universe, or spirit, or God, or however you, or whatever you name it, I feel like they very much have a hand in what's going on here, because they are sending so many major arcanas your way. And, I hope you can make just the best use of these energies. And, if nothing else, I'll see you in the next reading. So, that was your reading for mid-October. I really hope that was a message for you. And, like I said, these readings are general, and it's kind of impossible for it to resonate with everyone. But if it did resonate, or if it didn't resonate, and you want some more answers, you have some questions about other aspects or areas of your life, maybe there's some situation you're in, then you can contact me through my email, which you'll find below in the description box. I'll give you some information about prices and the kind of readings I do. And as always, if you are wondering what kind of decks I've used or anything like that, you'll find most of the information down below in the information box as well. I know I keep changing things up and doing things differently, but I'm trying to find my way of doing it and kind of what suits me, and as well as input from my viewers, of course. But until next time, I hope everything goes well with the messages that were there for you, and if nothing else, I'll see you next time.